So as promised, we are going to bring you some more top 5 lists from our Locked On Podcast Network family. This time, it's the top fan bases in the ACC. You know, someone's always ends up mad at us, and it's fine. We want to know who is the hypest, who needs a little work, and who maybe is just falls flat every time. I don't know. North Carolina, am I looking at you?
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Kenton and Candace of Locked On Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. We always appreciate a download and a subscription on our YouTube channel. We got over 1K, but 2K certainly is better. We love when you give us feedback, comment on our community page. Make sure that you give us all of those 5-star reviews. Let us know your thoughts on all of our shows. Lately, we have been having a lot of feedback from our Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and Syracuse episodes. So make sure you check out our 2023 football schedule playlist on YouTube. You can find where your school is and just how well they'll do this season is what we're predicting. But today's episode is all around the fans, which, you know, we have plenty of, maybe not some, haters all alike, right? Either way, it's an obsession. Ken, we got some top 5 fan bases in the ACC for the folks today.
Absolutely. Let's get into it because I think that some of these fan bases are going to be mad that they got left out, but I don't really care. Fill your stadium. And by the way, my criteria for top 5 is not when you're good, because everybody's crowd is crazy and wild when they're good. When you're a completely middle of the road team, what does your crowd look like? How do they act? That's what my answer is going to be based on.
So these are the top 5, correct?
Yes, we're doing top 5.
And criteria being who's down, who's loyal to the soil when things are not going their way. That's your criteria. My criteria would be who gives the best energy, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. Whether you go hard in the paint because you know your team stinks, but you're still going to ride with them to the depths. But you're gonna ride on that take. You're gonna die on that hill, whether it's Chestnut Hill, Coral Gables, whether it's Chapel Hill, all the things. You're gonna make sure people feel you, feel your presence and energy. So that's my criteria. Who has the most energy levels when it comes to this thing?
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense for sure.
So let's get into the top 5. We're gonna go 5 to 1 because we always like to do this here. We want you to leave comments because it's even better. I already know some of our faithfuls are gonna get in their feelings. I just have a feeling.
100%.
Just have a feeling.
100%.
Seminoles fans, don't jump us. All right, number 5. Here we go.
Well, if you're putting the pressure on me early here, number 5 for me, this, and I know that you said
Are you not reading out the list?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that you wanted us to do the top 5 from Locked On. I thought you wanted us to do the top 5 based on what we think. Okay, number 5 on the list is North Carolina.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. They had, when I said it in the intro, North Carolina fans, people are trying to already come at our necks. And I think it's because we get this bad rep of being the wine and cheese crowd, and I'm sick of it. We got some very intense North Carolina fans.
I strongly disagree.
All right. Of course you do. Shocker.
Again, like I said when I first got this rolling, my 5 would be based off of who I think, if your team is just decent, what do y'all show up like?
But isn't our football team always just decent?
And what does the stadium look like?
It's still pretty packed out to me. Now, you're putting us up against a stadium, Carter Finley, that allows people to come back and
no. I'm not putting up against Carter Finley. The Carter is not the standard. The Carter is not the standard. I believe that the Carter is above standard in terms of like fan engagement before halftime at least. But now, if we talk about the standard, Virginia Tech is the standard in terms of like their Virginia Tech and Clemson. Those are the two that's like that. It don't matter what those boys are doing. Clemson, I'm not sure because it's been a while since they've been like mid, so I'm not sure. But Virginia Tech,
you telling me they pack Lane Stadium out when those boys stink?
Yes.
No, maybe in the beginning, maybe when Inner Sandman comes on, but by the time that song is over, them jokers is headed for the mountains.
A Thursday night game.
Of course, because they have to back it out. It's an all-white matchup.
Even if them boys are completely mid, that stadium is going to be ruckus. Those keys
are they
going
number
to be
one?
jingling.
Because clearly we haven't even got that far. And I'm over here trying to talk about North Carolina, but it's crazy how you can never just stay on topic when it comes to North Carolina. You can't even bash them good. You always got to go to talk about somebody else and how much better they are. Like, can you just stay on topic?
Like I said, their stadium is empty a lot.
It is not. Who told you that?
All right.
Please roll the tape.
Apparently, I no longer have eyes.
When's the last time you've been to a North Carolina game? Let's start there.
Yeah. Boy, we see on TV what is happening. We've seen this. What are we doing?
I be at Keenan. What are you saying to me right now? I be at Keenan Stadium, and it is not empty unless it's raining or unless it is a blowout, and that goes for either way.
Okay, let's. Okay.
You don't have to Google it because we can Google empty. We can Google empty stadiums.
We're doing it now.
We can Google empty stadiums.
No, I'm not Googling empty stadiums.
We can Google. Are you Googling attendance?
I'm Googling average attendance.
Okay.
I'm Googling average attendance.
Okay.
Now, the team that packs the stadium out, they should be in the top 5, right?
Yeah.
They're not. They're number 7.
Okay.
What are we doing here?
Okay.
Mid. Like I said. Okay. I said they were mid, and where did they fall in the ACC? 7 of 14.
The fan bases. You're talking about fans, and you're talking about stadium build. People like to watch Carolina football at home. I prefer to have my bathroom right next to me. It's crazy. It's crazy. Go Heels, go America. We live far and wide, so everyone can attend a game. That does not mean they are bad fans. I'm just saying.
Sure. UNC fans. Well, first it was they packed the stadium out. Now they don't have to be in the stadium for it to matter. Okay, all right.
Number 4, I'm sick of talking about North Carolina with you. It's going to be a long season. I can feel like I hope Drake May better have the season of his life. Because if he doesn't, we will never hear the end of it on this show.
I'm on your head, baby. I'm on your head. I'm on your bean top. Number 4 is one of my favorite schools to play at. One of the places that reminds me of home so much. The Louisville Cardinals.
What?
I get down with Louisville at 4.
In the Kentucky Fried Chicken Arena.
I get down with Louisville at 4.
Don't they play at the KFC? Where did they play at? Papa John's?
It was the Papa John's stadium.
Butter
before.
biscuits.
I don't know if they changed the name. I don't know if they changed the name, but it was a Papa
They
John's.
should. I hope they've changed the name. Jeez.
Hey, listen, it's just like when the owners get caught doing something.
They should be the Shaq's. They could be Shaq Stadium because didn't he take over Papa John's?
But you can't name it Shaquille O'Neal Stadium. I mean, he doesn't have a degree from there. Does
Papa John?
Does he? Does John Shaq?
You over here making up rules.
Shaq is an LSU alum.
What they got to do with the price tea in China?
You can't name something at your school after somebody who's an alum of another school in 2023. You ain't got no notable alumni that you can name it after.
So it should be the Lamar Jackson Stadium.
The Lamar Jackson Stadium. Aren't the Brahms? Didn't both of the Brahms go there? I know Brian did. Didn't Jeff too?
No, you're asking me questions now. You know I
Go and get you a stadium named after you, Jeff.
Can he win first before you?
I was just about to say, go ahead and win yourself a couple 10-win seasons, and they'll build you a statue over there, boy.
10 wins is all it takes to get a statue?
Yeah. Stop it.
Stop it.
How many schools? Oh my God. So now we're gonna play around. Anyway, love Louisville. Love playing there. It's a very welcoming city. It's a wonderful city.
I've never been.
It's a good time.
Slam Tana, who's gonna invite me? I'm ready.
It's a good time. Louisville is a good time for real.
Okay.
But again, it reminds me of home, and I'm from Detroit, so it has some no-go zones where you need to avoid. But if you avoid those
Louisville?
Yeah, Louisville has some zones, baby. They got some zones there. So.
Interesting. All right, well, we're going to take a break here and pay some bills because we want to make sure that you guys are locked and loaded and put your money down on your favorite fans for the season, favorite games too. If you want to go and bet, you might as well do it at FanDuel. Right now, they're having a fun baseball special. If you put in some bets, you will get $200 back in bonus bets. That's at FanDuel.com/lockedon. You can bet on everything from props to money line to over-unders and all things in between, whether it's your favorite home runs, favorite stolen bases, all of the like. You know, baseball is always fun in the summertime. We're getting ready for Rocktober and how the playoffs start to begin. So make sure you lock and load with FanDuel. Again, FanDuel.com /locked on, America's #1 sports book. And FanDuel is the official partner of Major League Baseball. Kenton Gibbs and I rocking and rolling, talking through top 5 fan bases. We got North Carolina. We've got Louisville, number 3. And that's why he's on mute.
Number 3, the boys that I talked about earlier, Virginia Tech. Come on down, Hokies. You have been named the number 3 fan base in the conference, which makes sense to me. I mean, I personally, I think that there's a much closer battle than some people may think. And I know the Florida State fans are going to jump me for this. And the Clemson fans probably should jump me for this too. But I'd argue that Virginia Tech, again, even when they're mid, those folks come out them mountains and go to that game. They're going to go to that Virginia Tech.
I think they're the most sensible hardcore fan base. Like they know what they have. They know what they have in front of them. They know the Fuentes years were, dark, scary hours, right? They understand what was before them.
And they know some ball too, because I remember when Fuentes was there, they too were upset that Hendon Hooker was on the bench, and I'm like, okay, I'm glad it's not just me, because sometimes during quarterback battles, I'd be feeling crazy, like, wait, I think that this guy should play. Why is he not playing? And then the guy goes on to have success elsewhere, and I'm like, haha, I told you so, everybody. But like, this is one of those moments where Virginia Tech fans too were like, why is he not playing? Get Braxton out of the game. What is going on? And so.
100%. We definitely struggled through the Burmeister years, and now they've certainly have struggled last season with some pop-up wins here or there, but they still feel optimistic with Pry, especially with who he is and what he's brought from the past and all the things, and thinking that they'll bring back the old Virginia Tech swag. So I can see why you would buy in. Like, there's no better place to watch a football game, to me, in my opinion, than Lane Stadium, especially at nighttime.
Yeah, those fans are rabid. Those are some intense fans. Playing there is one of the pride and joys of my life, honestly. Like, very seriously, playing at Lane Stadium is like one of those moments that I don't have the greatest memory in the world, but like when that memory leaves me, I'm probably getting ready to get up off this earth for real, because it was a great time.
Lord help us. I also think that Inner Sandman doesn't get on ESPN's Rolodex every other hour on the hour. We will see college football is back and Lane Stadium being in that, hype reel for sure. So I think that says something about it. So giving that to them. Cool. Number 2.
Number 2 is the biggest fan base in terms of sheer volume in the conference. The Florida State Seminoles. Come on down.
They're going to be crying because they ain't number 1, child.
I'll tell you this. The Seminoles, when they're good, nobody's better than them. Nobody.
The fandom?
Nobody. The fandom is when they're good, nobody's better. However, when they're average, these past few years you've been seeing.
But see, when they're average, I just feel like they're nonsensical. When they're average, they're just nonsensical.
Yeah. Florida State fans, the Nile ain't just a river of France anymore. It's a joke. I know it's in Egypt, folks. But anyway. The real Delulu, that's them.
You don't have a whole Twitter Spaces back when that thing was popping, fire your coach, and it goes viral if you are not an insane fan base.
Yeah. And I'm not even gonna say what I want to say here, but there have been multiple instances where you look at Florida State and their roster and everything that's going on, and you hear what the fans are saying about it, and my logical conclusion is, how did y'all come there? What happened? Like, why are you at this point? I remember the year after Jimbo left, like, everybody was like, oh, we should still be a great team, and And I'm like, oh, what? Whoa. Y'all saw what I saw last year. Now let's pump the brakes. This should be a good team, maybe, but like, let's not go crazy here.
The Tiger era was tough. The Norvell era has been, up and down, but I definitely feel as if Florida State has, this season to turn things around, and they're going to be crazy. If you talk about college football playoffs, you talk about potential national championship implications and the whole turnaround. I mean, people are on Jordan Travis train like they ain't never seen before. The whole changing of the guards, right, in terms of how bought in they are of the system and all the things, and Norvell and wanting to keep him, blah, 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 blah. So say all that to say they're going to be nutty. They're going to be
like completely
nuts.
When they're good, when Florida State is good, when they're dominant, nobody's better. No fan base comes close.
They're going to be unhinged this season, I think.
Oh, extremely.
But you also have to check the sort. Like, it's Florida, right? So you have people that are just a little bit different in Florida.
Not Florida man strikes again.
Off the strength. And then you have, of course, Florida State fans from around the globe people who, that was their team because of so-and-so reason. And I just think that if there was ever a more stressful, you can never say the wrong thing about this program, this is that team.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, say what you want. I think that their fan base always has sheer volume, and delusion. They got that going for them. But again, when they're not good, the passion.
The passion is still there.
It goes off the rails. I was about to say the passion goes off the rails. I'm not saying it's like a howitzer, right? Like you don't know where it's going to land, like what's happening. It's powerful, it's palpable, but it kind of goes off the rails as opposed to, again, like we just talked about with Virginia Tech, where it's like, we know what we are.
I would like to go to a game in Doak, though. I think that would be very exciting. I think the chop would be fun and all of that overall. I think that would probably be right next to Lane Stadium experience for me if I had to rank.
Oh, absolutely. It's an experience. It's an experience. It's one of those things that's like, it's a one-on-one type thing in terms of like the atmosphere and the things that you see there. What a time. What a time.
All right. Well, if it ain't Florida State, then who would be number one?
Oh, come on. Now we know who number one is. The team that nobody ever believes in, the team that nobody ever thinks is going to be good. Dabo Swinney and those old Clemson Tigers. That is the team with the number one fan base.
The forever underdogs. Nobody believes in,
Yeah. We all think they're going to, they listen, again, we talk about delusion. That's another one of them.
Mediocre at best.
But I'll tell you this. Again, like I've said about Clemson already this episode, they've been good for so long. We don't know what their fan base, but like very seriously, there's a lot of people who have no concept of what Clemson's fan base looks like when they're bad or when they're average. There's a lot of people. And with that being said, I've only got to go off of what I've seen and their fan base. Yeah, they win national championships. Yep, they go to New Year's Six bowls and all that on the down year for them. Hey, they fans are rabid. They're crazy. They expect the best, and by golly, he's been delivering the best. So, hey, shout out to Clemson.
But I mean, if you think about it, the top three, they're very much college towns. That's all that really is in those respective cities, and so they go hard in the paint. Clemson, South Carolina, what else you got? You don't have basketball for real. You don't have, too many Olympic sports that go off the rails. Florida State, Tallahassee, pretty much same. Virginia Tech. Ain't much in Blacksburg, Virginia. So I see the vision.
Nothing.
I visited. I went on one of my recruiting trips. That was one of the reasons why I was out of there.
It's disturbingly quiet. Like driving into the stadium, it is like
going around. First of all, I'm good on mountains. I'm good on. I'm okay on that. But I think for Clemson, it's just like ain't much. I don't like being in South Carolina. Period. Ain't got a lot of business in South Carolina. Ain't trying to be in South Carolina. It's not my thing. I would love to go to a game in Death Valley just to say I did it, but I ain't pressed. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't pressed.
I mean, I've played in Death Valley before. It's I hate to say it. It's loud. It's ruckus, but it's not like there's nothing extremely unique about that environment. Like there's nothing that's like, oh, this is like you are only going to see this at Clemson. Now, don't get me wrong. Clemson is extraordinarily loud. They are extraordinarily loud. I'll give them that. But they're not the only extraordinarily loud team. But again, their fans, they give their fans reason to cheer, and their fans show up and cheer in spades, child. They show up deep. They roll. They're going to be screaming and yelling from the start of the game to the end.
So if you had to pick a best stadium overall game experience, which one would you have on your list?
Oh, Virginia Tech, by far. Lane Stadium, Thursday night. Oh, don't let them be good. Don't let them be good on that thing. Child, you're my brother in Christ, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
okay?
100%.
Play deads on the way in because some folks are in trouble.
Now, we did the top 5 list, but clearly there are plenty of teams that didn't make the cut that we know are going to fill away. Pencil P, I'm sure, is typing as we speak.
Oh, yeah. All caps, too. Pencil P is typing all caps.
And, you know, they just recently were ACC champions, and they came out in droves. They played Sweet Carolina, did all the things where I'm like, there is a group. There's a hardcore Pitt group that goes...
You would not believe where Pitt was
intergalactic.
You would not believe where Pitt was ranked on this list.
Please, can we remind these folks that this is not our picks?
This is not our picks. This is not our picks. These are picks. These are picks from fellow voters or fellow hosts in Locked On Podcast Network. Pitt is selected at number 10.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's last?
Duke.
NC State. Oh, Duke. You know what? That's because they've never been to a Duke football game in recent years. I'm telling y'all just don't get it. Y'all have got to go to a Duke game in the Elko era. Disrespectful. It's disrespectful.
We doing this again? Are we doing this again?
Duke won how many games last season?
Are we doing this again? What does that have to do with their fan base?
He brought a new fan base of Duke fans out. That's what I'm telling you. It's like an actual football game. It's like they have rallies now. They have actual fan development activations during games. You think that they had that before, Mike?
I mean,
they picked people's parents to win things. Now you have actual fans getting gifts and prizes, students, if you will.
I mean this very genuinely. You cannot be dead last in attendance per game and I take you seriously as a fan base. You can't. They're
working on it. I think it's gonna improve. I think it's gonna be better this season because of how well they did last year. Wallace Wade is jumping now.
And here's the worst part. And I'm not even kidding with you right now. The gap between Duke and the next team is larger than the gap between any other two teams in these rankings in terms of like the team and the next team in front of them. No team has as large of a gap. Nobody. As far as Duke to the second lowest team. Like, come on.
All right. I'm trying to tell y'all need to go to one Wallace Wade game and then you'll change your mind. You'll change your mind.
Apparently, if all of our listeners went to a Wallace Wade game, it would increase their
just cut it out.
Crowd by a lot.
Just cut it out.
Okay. All right. All right.
All right.
What's our most listened to episode ever, Candace? In terms of listeners, what number?
Went down 32,000.
32,000. I guarantee you, if that many people showed up to a Duke game, right? If that many people showed up to a Duke game compared to their average, we have literally over doubled what they would normally get.
That's before the Elko era.
I am trying to tell you, with all due respect, that cannot be it.
Listen, they got rid of the track and they ready to go. So I just need you to stop hating and let it be.
For sure.
Do we put our Duke football bet up yet?
Listen, I'm not fooling with you and Duke. I ain't fooling with you. Although they got to play Atlanta teams this year, so yeah, let's bet it. Let's bet it up. How
many do you think they're gonna win? Sorry, this is an aside. We're about to do
schedule. Let's go over their schedule.
We already did. Check it out on the playlist. Run it back.
We'll do it. Anyway. While you was ready to scream, NC State was at the bottom of the list. They were actually right outside the top 5 at number 6.
So the Carolina Tar Heels were one ahead, and that's all I need to know.
Too bad they're not ahead in average attendance.
It doesn't matter because they're ahead in voting.
Hate that for them.
You came to watch those jokers lose even more. Oh, who cares?
Oh, hey, listen, I'm sure they are ahead, just like they were ahead when Devin Leary was there, and with about 3 minutes left, they were ahead by what? 10 points or so? Just like they were ahead. To it.
How are you guys in the overall series? Okay.
Just like they were ahead with that Heisman candidate. And they said NC State's coming in with a 4th-stringer. This is the wrong Finley. He can't win at Keenan. How'd that go? It's been 1,000 days. What is it? 1,000 since
Here we go.
Oh,
Here we go.
I know Rhett did the 525,600 minutes. How would we multiply that by 3? What are we looking at? Like what?
Ooh, the
1
mic
million?
just broke with that tone. Okay.
500,000.
All I'm saying is I'm going off the sheet, and we just went off of the sheet. That's all it is at the end of the day.
And I'm going by the numbers. You know what I mean? Like, hey, listen, women lie, men lie, non-binary folks lie. You know what never lies? Numbers.
Actually, that's very false because data can definitely be skewed. But here we are. We appreciate everyone for listening as usual. Those are the top 5 and with a little sprinkle in between of where other folks land. But all in all, we love it when we want to hear your feedback. Where do you think your fan base should have landed? We'll put the full list on our community page and you can tell us whether we're correct or incorrect. Give us all of that. And I know it's coming. Miami fans, y'all didn't even make top 5, top 6. Did they make top 10?
Miami fans did make the top 10.
Well, we're gonna have to hear about it because you know it's coming. You already know that one's coming.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So we would love to hear the feedback of where you guys feel like you should be, of course, and make sure you download, subscribe to the pod and our Locked On Podcast Network friends. Go yell at them. Remember, we did not make this list.
We intentionally abstained from voting so as to not skew it with our Homer biases.
We love pleasant surprises. So we would love to hear all of that, all of those things. We are going to come back next week with even more fun, a full slate of conversations as we prepare for ACC kickoff. We get you ready, locked and loaded for what you should expect for the 2023 football season. A little basketball news maybe in between. We saw a little West Virginia signee from the Tar Heels. We'll talk about that, whether or not that moves the needle at all. We'll see. But you'll see all of that next week. So we appreciate you coming back for more of Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs. Until next time.